Taylor Swift's Miss Americana documentary is just a few days away from premiering at this year's Sundance Film Festival. However, fans won't be able to see the documentary until it's released on Netflix on January 31st. But in the meantime, Variety has just put out a new article revealing a lot of information about this film.
I was already excited about this documentary, but after reading this article, I'm even more excited about it. So we're getting a new lens into Taylor Swift's life, a closer glimpse at everything that she has been going through. So here are some of the things that are going to be covered in the documentary.
First off, according to Variety, it's the story of an earnest young woman with a self-described good girl fixation, working through her last remaining fears of being shamed as she comes to embrace her claws and her causes, calling Miss Americana a portrait of the birth of an activist. At the start of the film, we see Taylor Swift's reaction to Reputation, one of her boldest albums ever, gets snubbed by the Grammys, and how she bounces back and decides to make an even better album. Director Lana Wilson notes that in the scene you see her strength and character, saying Taylor isn't someone who's going to feel sorry for herself, but decides to work even harder. Back in October of 2018, Taylor shocked the world by using her voice and her social media platforms to voice out her political opinions, something she had never done before. She talks about why she wouldn't be voting for Marsha Blackburn and goes on to say, "I always have and always will cast my vote based on which candidate will protect and fight for the human rights I believe we all deserve in this country. I believe in the fight for LGBTQ rights and that any form of discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender is wrong." This was a groundbreaking moment for Swift, and even though this post is what the world saw, in the documentary we're going to hear some of the discussion and opposition Taylor faced from her own team, including her father. Taylor is heard pushing back tears and saying she regrets not coming out against Donald Trump 2 years prior, however that she can no longer change that, and says, "I need to be on the right side of history. Dad, I need you to forgive me for doing it because I'm doing it." Taylor also notes that when her senatorial candidate of choice, Democrat Phil Bredesen, loses to Republican Marsha Blackburn, that it was a bigger disappointment for her than not being nominated for a Grammy, saying, "I think what's going on out in the world is bigger than who gets a prize at the party." It also turns out that the events transpired at the 2009 VMAs with Kanye West will also be recapped in Miss Americana. Lana Wilson stated, "With the 2009 VMAs, it surprised me that when she talked about how the whole crowd was booing, she thought they were booing her and how devastating that was," says Wilson. "That was something I hadn't thought about or heard before, and it made it much more relatable and understandable to anyone." And I know many of us were wondering if any footage would be shown in regards to Taylor's battle for her masters. According to Variety, there is no mention of Scott Borchetta, Scooter Braun, or Big Machine Records. Lana explained the reasoning for this, saying, "The Big Machine stuff happened pretty late in our process. There's also not much to say that isn't publicly known. I feel like Taylor's put the story out there in her own words already, and it's been widely covered. I was interested in telling the story that hadn't been told before, that would be surprising and emotionally powerful to audiences, whether they were music industry people or not." In the documentary, there is also a mention of Andrea's cancer. Variety says, "The subject comes up in a section of the film that includes a relatively lighthearted scene in which it's shown that one of Andrea Swift's ways of saying F you to cancer recently was to break the mold and bring a canine into a famously feline-friendly family." However, Taylor for the first time shares intimate details in regards to her mom's cancer, saying, "She was going through chemo and that's a hard enough thing for a person to go through. While she was going through treatment, they found a brain tumor. And the symptoms of what a person goes through when they have a brain tumor is nothing like what we've ever been through with her cancer before. So it's just been a really hard time for us as a family." Taylor had noted in the past that several things were going on in her home, hence why she's not going on a full-on tour for Lover, but rather a few dates. One of the other things we learned is that we will be hearing a new Taylor Swift song that will be played during the end credits, "Only the Young," which Variety calls an anthem for millennials who might have come away disillusioned with the political process. And as for upcoming music, Taylor is super busy, and even though she released an 18-track album with Lover, in the article she says, "But even after I made the album, I kept writing and going in the studio. That's a new thing I've experienced this time around. That openness kind of feels like you finally got the lid off a jar you've been working at for years."
So this article has me feeling two emotions. And the first one is happy and excited because we're getting this new look into Taylor Swift's life. You know, as a fan, you only want to get closer and you want to know everything, all of that stuff, right? But at the same time, I'm sad because now we have more details about Andrea's cancer. And, you know, Taylor Swift has kept very private about this. Her whole family has. And we haven't gotten very many details. You know, we knew that she was battling cancer. We knew that Taylor was not going to be doing this full-blown out tour because she wanted to be at home with her mom and her family. And now we find out that Andrea has a brain tumor, and I don't even know how. I have no words, guys. Like, I really don't even know what to say because it is just like such a scary, sad situation for her whole family to be in. And I know as fans, we're all sending really positive vibes and hoping for the best. So it's just kind of, it hits you when you now have these details. You now know more of what Taylor has been going through with her family, and plus all the other things that she's been going through on top of that. Her masters, her you know, sexual assault trial that just recently happened, you know, all of the bashing and hate that she gets from the media and so on, guys. I can go on and on about everything that she's been going through. So I'm excited to see the documentary, but then at the same time, it's gonna be like, I feel it's gonna be very intense. Based on what we've read, I feel it's gonna be an intense documentary, and especially for us fans who care very deeply about Taylor, I think it's gonna hit us in a different way than it will somebody who's just casually watching it. So anyways, I still cannot wait to see this documentary. I'm excited about it. I'm really interested to see, you know, we already know some of the topics that are going to be discussed, but it's going to be a totally different experience actually watching it. So guys, let me know what your thoughts are on it so far based on what we know and what you're interested in seeing and what you're excited to see or hear about. Other than that, if you guys like this video, make sure to give this video a like as always, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Once the actual documentary is out, I will have a video reaction about it. We'll be talking about it and discussing it more in depth, as well as the Sundance premiere. So lots to come, lots to come. So make sure to give this video a like. I already said that, and subscribe to the channel. All right, until next time, I'll see you guys all later. Bye.